Hello, my name is Scott Robinson. I am a front-end web development, Angular, and Ruby on Rails mentor and course writer at Thinkful. And I also just make videos for fun. And I am going to try to do something that most people, well, I've seen a lot of these Angular 2 videos that are coming out. I've watched most of ngConf for 2015, and I'm really excited about Angular 2 and what it has, the languages that it's written in. I'm very familiar with TypeScript, and I really like the way that the framework is going. I know that a lot of people are really up in arms about the way that it's completely restructured, but I think that they're really onto something good. Web components and the Shadow DOM and the stuff that the direction that they're going is, I believe, is really a good thing to do. And I also just kind of like living on the edge, and I'm definitely known for hey, it's in beta, let's put it in production. I usually don't go that crazy, but I do I do tend to always gravitate towards like the newest and biggest thing that's out and try to really understand how it works and then apply that to things that I already know, and technologies that are proven, and as well as maybe find some really awesome new framework and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to to jump into the very beginning of the Angular 2 stuff. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to A, help the Angular team out, and B, start learning this for myself, and try to figure out how this all works. And what I've done is I've basically, right now, I've just pulled down what's available on the Angular.io site. So if you go to the Angular.io site, which is what their new website for the new Angular 2 stuff, there's not really much on here. You see little tiny code snippets, and there's the ngComp videos. Those are great videos to watch, about Angular 1 and Angular 2 and some of the future of this stuff. And then they have this little learn in 5 minutes, and that's basically, I'm using this as my base. And so I went through this little quick start. I went through. I've paid a lot of attention to the Angular 2 stuff that's coming out. I believe I really do understand, at least the core fundamentals of creating a component and a template and bootstrapping it, and then throwing it in there. And I also come from more class-based languages and stuff like that, so I do understand how constructors work and things like that. So ES6 is very familiar in that aspect, but it's also very different because JavaScript has never really had this stuff before. We've always faked it with functions that we call new on and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to try to jump into some of this stuff and figure this out. And I know there's no documentation for this. You can check out the docs page, and you can see like API preview, and you click on it, and it goes, well, here's the docs for Angular 1. And so there's no documentation out here for this. Really, the only thing I have to go off of is what is either in the repository or looking through the Angular code that's out there right now, or looking at this quick start or anything that I've seen on the videos, which some of those you have to really be careful about the timestamp or the date that you see them, because they are they're very much in flux right now. And I know that like what I'm writing now, it may not be the way that Angular 2 really is, but they seem to be pretty consistent about some of this stuff. And I think that definitely with it being an alpha, it's a great opportunity to jump in. And I'm also one not to do apps. I've seen to do apps. We've all done to do apps. I want to actually try to build something real, and I am going to start out with a pretty simple example at the moment. And it's not going to be too complex. But once I really get this working, then I'm going to try to start pushing the limits of Angular and start building some actual applications with actual world use cases. And my goals are to A, figure out how it works and do it. B, I want to maybe get used to the framework and how it works. And C, maybe I find bugs, and if I can fix the bugs, I'll submit pull requests. write issues. I can start making like little documentation notes and stuff like that, and really just trying to maybe try to give to the community and give to the Angular team some feedback of real world use and real world scenarios and stuff like that. As well as trying to put myself ahead of the curve, I guess, and jumping on and learning this framework in its infancy, and that way, when it actually drops, I have a pretty good understanding and a pretty good knowledge base of how it all works and stuff like that. So, that being said, I guess let me show you what we have currently. So, the current application is basically I followed their little 5-minute tutorial, and this is what we get. So it's currently let's see, I believe I need to set this up so that it actually serves the page, and oh, how did I do this? No, that's a different README. Index. Yeah, I think I just need to open up index.html. So we're just going to create a little JavaScript debug, and I'll just call it test, and the URL being our index.html for this application at the moment, and we'll run that, and hopefully, if all goes well, which nothing's going at the moment. It looks like it's trying to open Chrome. Where? Where is it? Oh, here it is. And let's see what happened. So failed. The server responded with 404 not found. Dist ex es6 shim system not defined. Okay. I had dealt with this before, so dist Angular 2. Let me try removing these. Again, it's something we have to really. Oh, because it's got a. Why does it have that? Oh, but hey, it works! Yay! Okay, so basically, I guess let me go through this. So this is a lot of their shim stuff, to where they actually pull in, from my understanding, they're pulling in the Angular 2 assets and stuff like that into this system library, which I believe provides the module loading system. I could be completely wrong with that statement. And I believe it also does kind of on-the-fly building of your ES6 code into ES5 so that it runs in the browser. So I believe that that's what's going on here. Again, could be completely wrong in that assumption, but that's what it looks like it's doing. And then, so really, this is right here we defined a directive or a component called myApp, and then in the application here, we import the libraries that we need from Angular 2, and we create a component, and I'm giving it a selector of my app, and then I'm giving it a template. I'm doing an inline template of just hello name, and then I'm creating a class with a constructor of Alice, and then I bootstrap it, which I believe just calls a constructor of the class and loads in all the annotation stuff, creates a full component, and then spits it out on the page, which is what gives us Hello Alice. So there is essentially a working hello world for Angular 2, which is what they provide on their site. So if you'd like to go through this, go to their quick start, 5-minute quick start, Angular 2. It'll tell you to clone down the repository, which is where I got this from, and then explains some of the stuff, as well as what you need to do to actually get this to run. The code you see here is exactly what I have, and they explain a little bit of these annotations and how it kind of works, and then they walk you through the process. They tell you to bootstrap it. They tell you what to put in your HTML here. I discovered that I didn't need quick start. It just that wasn't part of the file structure, so that caught me up for a little bit, but then I figured that out. They do explain what system.js is, so if you want to find out what that is, you can go here. But it looks like it's an ES6 module loading functionality to browsers. And then that all runs, and then you just run a local server. So you can use HTTP server, or I obviously am using my IDE to serve it. And then that's it. So that's what I have. So I've been through the 5-minute quick start, and what I want to do is to try to build something a little bigger. So all this code is up on GitHub at the moment, and as I'm working through this, I will be updating GitHub with this stuff. And so here is my scenario. This is what I wanted to do. So I wanted to create an application, which I'm calling Capitalia for right now. And it's going to be an application that integrates with geonames.org to provide an interface that allows us to look at different countries and their capitals. So it's a pretty simple use case. And I've got some mock-ups here. So we've got our first screen just being kind of like a welcome screen. You click a button and you go to this list screen. So this is a little more going to be a little more challenging. So it's going to show all the different countries and their capitals and some other information from it that we're getting from this GeoNames API. And I've got a couple little requirements down here that we're going to adhere to. And then when you click on one of these rows, apparently we need to go to a details view that shows some information for that details view. And again, that's going to be, I believe, to GeoNames in order to get the information that we need to this. So we're it's a very simple app. It's got 3 pages, and I don't know anything about the router. So at the moment, I'm just going to focus on creating 1 or 2 of the pages, and not really worrying too much about how the router works at the moment. I will definitely dive into it, and I would like to get the router implemented in here if I can. I don't know if it's even in the build. That's how fresh Angular is. I don't know if it's even in the build for it. So it may not even be in the Angular 2 core files that are in here. I don't see anything labeled as the router or anything like that. So it may not, the Angular currently may not even have a router built within it. So I may not even be able to add that feature, but we will get something working, and I'm definitely going to keep up with the Angular as it's coming out, and the little previews and stuff, and the different alpha drops that we get and stuff like that. So I guess with that being said, then let's go ahead and start building. So for the first page, what we're going to do is we need to create our countries and capitals, which I'm going to call Capitalia or something like that. And then put a little bit of text and a button there. So that's pretty standard HTML and JavaScript. Or pretty standard, just really HTML. I guess we could create a component that does some of this stuff, but doesn't necessarily need to. So there's not really a lot of Angular that's going to go on this front page. So it looks like really all it is we've got an H1 that we'll put in Capitalia. Then we need an HR to put the line on the page. We're going to need a paragraph with some example text, and then a button, which I believe I'm going to make a link, and it will link to, since there's not a router, I guess maybe we should do this in the what style is it? The just the standard typical, make a whole nother page style. Maybe we can work this out a little bit later, but for the moment, that's what we'll do. So we have href equals, and we'll go to a page that we will call countries. So we'll go to countries, countries.html. So kind of boring at the moment, but we'll do browse countries. Right. So that's pretty much what our spec looks like, and we'll go ahead and fire this page up, and I don't know why it doesn't automatically flip to it. So that's essentially kind of what's going on. Definitely needs some styling, but yeah, we're gonna get lots of these have no idea what's going on type. I guess it's because I don't have a My App on the page. So what we can do is, so I guess I'm going to create, we'll have an index.es6, which isn't going to have anything in it at the moment. So we'll just create a new, eventually TypeScript, but I don't have the correct TypeScript compiler for this yet. So we will just do an index.es6, which is probably going to tack on .js at the end. Yes, it does. So we will refactor and rename that. Remove the JS portion, and then if we load the application, we get no error. Good. So now when we click this, we should go to a countries.html, which we don't have. So we need to create one. So a new HTML file, countries, and then I guess we'll make a countries .es6 file. Okay, and then we need to pull some of this stuff in. So I guess I need to grab some of the code from the index.html, this startup script stuff, and we'll pull that in here, place that in a script tag, and we're going to pull in countries.es6, and we also need to pull in the library here, the ES6 shim. Change this to Capitalia, and we'll call this countries to kind of denote like what page we're on. So this will be just Capitalia. So really simple. None of this is new, obviously, at the moment, but will be when we actually start wiring up this table. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to go full component style, I guess. And so I'm going to create this table as a component, which will then have, I guess, maybe each column as a each item as a component, I think, is what I want to do. That makes sense to me, and so we're going to try like some nested components and stuff like that. So we want another, but let's build up some of this markup. So we have another h1, put the name of the application in it. Until I can figure out where the router is and how that works, we will just duplicate stuff, and then maybe we can build the router in later, which would be great. All right, so here's our first actual use of Angular. We're going to create a, what are we going to call it? Country table for now. Okay, so place in a country table. Oh, no, I just want to... And so now I need to reference back to this, and I want to pull in most of this code, but obviously we're going to change things. So country table, And the template is going to be, I guess we'll create a table, and that table will have a T head, which will then have a TH, I believe. And let's see, how do we do this? Let's see if I can. I believe I can use the new ES6 template string style, which will be really nice. So we can kind of start building this template out, and I believe that I can even do. I wonder if they have that built in yet, where you can place the templates and script tags on the page and then pull them in. I don't know yet. Maybe, maybe not. But basically what we need is name, country code, capital, area in kilometers squared, population, and continent. So we just need to start building some of that in. So first one is the name. And we can just copy this a couple times and change the word. Oh, that does not copy pretty. Maybe that wasn't such a good idea. I don't know why it doesn't want to copy the way I want it to copy. No, it just refuses. That's irritating. Okay, well, alright, good old-fashioned way, I guess. Country code. Okay, TH, and tab, and capital. And another TH, and we want area in KM2. And population. Yep. And continent. Okay, and then then we want to end our T head, and we want to create our T body. And now is where the confusion sets in, because we want to create a row for each one, but we want to be able to express this inside of our application. And I'm trying to remember from their talk, what was the piece of code that they used? They used a thing. So change detection, DI, directives, forms, directives, setters. Okay, source, core, directives, DOM. Is that DOM? Nope. For each, switch, if, cool. DI, annotations, okay, core. Compiler, DOM, events, application, events. Huh. Supporting gestures out of the box, that's pretty nice actually. compiler, directive metadata interfaces, template resolver, template loader. This might contain some information. Execute, template loader, runtime create class, create template, template URL, string wrap mapper, create template, base URL, get template URL, no. View container, injector is blank event manager. Hydrate, dehydrate, clear, get, hydrated, remove, detach, nodes, unlink. Okay, so let's see. What can I do? What can I do? They put something in here. They put something that was like, hey, in here is where you place. Well, if we ignore that one piece of the puzzle, which is actually really important, then we should get, I mean, that's essentially going to be our table, right? Okay, well, let's pretend that we actually do have this piece working, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of research out of the video, and then I'm going to come back with my results that I find. So we do have our component, we have our selector, we have our template with our inline code, and now we actually need to start building some of the logic inside of our class. So I don't want to call it my app component anymore. I want to call it country table component for now. And I'll go ahead and throw that into the bootstrapper, and then we need to set some properties on it. So the table itself isn't really going to have any properties, but the pieces of the table are. So what we can do is we can go ahead and plan for that, and we can go ahead and look at the reflection DOM. I don't know, I'll figure it all out. So we can go ahead and create a do I want a separate file, or do I want to put it in the same file? I think I'll do the same file for the moment. And so we're going to create a new component. And a new template. And so the selector for this I'm going to call table row for now. So this is what selector of table row. And you'll notice I don't have any syntax highlighting. That's because I haven't figured out how to turn that on for ES6 files in WebStorm. As soon as I figure that out, we'll get some actual syntax highlighting. At the moment, it just thinks it's a plain text file. So everything I'm having to error check by myself. Let's see, selector, and then we had inline. And we're going to pass in basically a table row. And let me see, try that out again. And inside of that table row, we're going to get a TD. And that first TD is going to hold the name. So, because, well, I do want a for each, right? So I've seen that. So we star for each equals country in countries, which I'm not quite sure where that comes from yet. I think there's some linkage that I need for that as well. And I guess that should work. And so then in our TD, we should be able to do country dot name and then country dot, we'll just say code, country dot capital, country dot area, country dot population, ooh, that looks really weird. And last one being country dot continent. All right, and then we just close. Basically, we just close our TR. And then end the inline for that. Okay, so now we actually, so country table, country row. So yeah, so now we actually get to start doing some of the business logic for this. So I'm going to create a class, and I'm going to call it country row. That's what I can call it for now. Country row. Alright, making sure my syntax is correct. And then I'll create a constructor which we're going to mark out some things to do. We need to pull in the list of countries from the Ooh, I think I know something that we need to do here too. T-body. I believe we're going to need countries on here. And where do I add that? So actually here's where we pull in the countries, I believe. So pull in countries from API, and then here is, this is our we're going to, I guess, pass in a country to the constructor, and then we'll set this dot name equals country name, this dot code equals country code, this dot capital equals country capital, this dot area equals country area, this dot population country dot population, and this dot continent country continent. Okay, so that should set up our constructor. So now we need to figure out how are we going to call that here. So there's still a lot of things because, I mean, there's no documentation on this yet. So there's still a lot of things that I'm completely guessing at, just how programming works in general, and trying to figure out if this is going to work for us. So still a lot of guessing going on, but I think basically I've kind of set up the basis of, I believe, how this stuff works. And then I do need to bootstrap this. So bootstrap country row, or maybe there's another way to do that. Maybe the country table component should bootstrap it somehow, or maybe this is how you do the top level component, and then you need to in here have it load in this component. I'm completely confused and not sure. So I think I'm going to stop there for the moment, since the rest of it's going to be me completely speculating. I will go ahead and hit the run button though, and we'll see what we get. Don't know why that loaded over there. There we go. And so we go here, we go browse countries, and we get the beginnings of our table. So at least we got that there. That's great. Table row did not match any elements. Okay. So yeah, that makes sense because I didn't put any on the page. But we are loading in our table. So we are getting one component on the page correctly. That's very good. However, we are not getting other components on the we don't know how to get the second component on yet. And of course, there's absolutely no styling for the site at the moment. We're just trying to get the bare, just the bare bones of everything put together. Since we're trying to figure out how does Angular work, Angular 2, and stuff like that. So this is kind of that adventure into figuring out a undocumented, brand new alpha API. So I'm going to throw this up on the work that I've done so far on GitHub. There's not much to it, but you can maybe kind of look at what I have so far and maybe try to familiarize yourself with the way that these components work. I know how to make one component. The problem is I don't know how to nest them, and I don't know how to do a lot of the fancy stuff with them yet. So I will get there, but that means I'm going to be having to dive through a lot of their not documentation, just their code, and figuring out kind of how that all works. So welcome to Edge programming. Well, this is like bleeding edge. This is like, yeah. But jump in, play with the quick start, kind of get your feet wet, start looking at some of their really simple, really simple things to, as well as any child components it contains to render. I wonder if should I just throw it on the page and see what happens? Maybe I should do that. So we'll take this off because it seems like it bootstraps any child components, right? And then do I get any errors if I just throw the table row on there, even though it doesn't really have anything in it yet? So what if we just did that? We just did table row. No idea. Okay, let's do another experiment. I didn't get any errors there, so maybe I actually need to put it in here. What if I did table row in here, and I did a star for each country in countries here, and then this would not loop here, but I don't know. Component as a selector. Well, what if I did this dot countries equals a new or an array, and then I did like countries dot ies dot push. Um, um, New country, and I passed in a name, test name, a code of AA, a capital of nothing, a area of 100, a population of 20, and a continent of U. Okay, what happens? No idea. Error. Unexpected token. I guess that makes sense because countries is not defined. Reference error. Countries is not defined. I believe it. Where do I put this? Countries. This dot countries. No idea. I'm just completely making stuff up. Okay, reference error, countries not defined still. So there was a small hint in this error message in that I see like injector and reflection stuff, and so I bet probably what I'm looking for is these injectors, and I could probably start looking in some of this code and figure out you know, maybe backtrack and look at the code itself and figure out where is that being populated and where is it looking for it. Because if it's looking for it somewhere, then I can at least define that. And maybe I just need to do this dot countries or something. I mean, I don't know. No, country's still not defined. Yeah, so like I said, this is not going to be easy. It's going to be a lot of me just looking around and trying to find things. But I think that this might be the beginning of how this all works. I don't know. There's still a lot to really figure out. For the moment, I'm going to move this down to the bottom of the file, and that's probably going to be it for today. I'm going to be doing a lot of, I'm going to start looking at their code, starting probably right here, and backtrack, and figure out, okay, where did it, I don't know if I'd start there, actually, because that's not very helpful. Countries ES6. Oh, a small, wait, new country, no, it should be this dot, oh, man, I'm making so many mistakes, look at this. That's not correct. Countries, it helps if my code even makes sense before I try to do something. So it's not country like this, it's country row. I'm just like completely shorthanding things and not even paying attention to what I called things. I got no errors. I also got no countries, but I got no errors. So if we go here, countries, ng binding, cool. and there's nothing inside of it. But I got no errors, so that's good. But I also got nothing to show for it. So definitely need to figure this out, and I will research this and be back, and we'll take another look at this and see if we can get this working. And I will see you guys next time.